Hey, this is Carl from Jantz Engineering. We're going to go through some tips on setting up differentials, and specifically my Dana 76 kit, which puts Dana 70 gears and Dana 60 housings. Okay, we're starting off here. We've got two Dana 70 heavy-duty Detroit lockers. This one's 456 and down. This is 410 and up. You'll notice there's a 3/16 difference in the deck height of these two. Now, over here, we have an old Dana 60. And you'll see that the heavy duty is only about an 1/8 inch wider. Okay? Now, other discrepancies between the heavy duty 70 and the 60. You look at the way the bearing goes on. The bearing seat's a little wider, so that ain't going to go in the differential. So I have conveniently fixed that for our problem. We've taken this one, which is going in with our 513 gears, and I've shaved an 1/8 inch off here. And I did it in a lathe that looks pretty, but you could do it with a hacksaw or a grinder. So now when the bearing goes on, you don't have the snout sticking out. Now the next thing, this is key instructions. About the 3rd page down of my instructions, you're going to see this figure. And this gives you the deck height from the side of the bearing to the side of the ring gear for all the combinations, for the whether you're using high pinion or low pinion and what gears. Now we're going 513 gears, so we want our 456 and up. So the measurement we want is the 2.390. 2.390 from the side of the bearing to the back of the ring gear. So to get starters, and you could do this on a nice flat table here. You could do it on any piece of machinery like a table saw, even a piece of plate glass if you're careful. Give her a little spin, let her set. We'll get a measurement of what this is. Alright, I've got 2.318. Try that again. I like to make sure I'm square and level. Alright, 2.320. So that was 2 thousandths off the last one. One more time. I'll take kind of an average because this isn't perfect, but it gets you close. There's a 2.330. So I'm wavering about 10 thousandths on my measurement. Now we want 2.390, and we got 2.330 here. So if I add 60, I'll be at 2.390. And that'll be close for starters in our housing. Now, I've taken all my shims, and this is tedious, but it pays off. I've got them all labeled by sizes. It just took a little Sharpie, and I mic'd them all. So we get going here, we'll throw stuff around, we don't have to re-mic anything. Something else to be aware of, different companies seem to like to make shims different sizes. They're supposed to be all 3s, 5s, 10s, and 30s, and you'll see I've got some 6s here. I found a 7. I got a 12 and 11. Go figure. The other thing I found is, because we've got to take up some space in here, I'm using 30 thousandths spacers on a lot of them, and they look like they fit. But what happens is this actually rides this little bit of radius right here. And I don't know what the difference is in manufacturing through the years, but I've seen this change, and I haven't got them all changed yet. If you don't account for that, you see how these shims here have got a little bend to them? And if you put that in with a housing spreader and everything's compressed, that's fine. That little bend is going to crawl up inside the radius right here. But when you're trying to set up, this bend acts like a spring. So what I do is I take one of the 30s, and I've shaved it out a little bit larger in diameter, so it's just the same as the bearing seat. So that gives you a lot of clearance. And that seems like a lot of slop, but that's all the seat that's on the bearing. And you see that most of my other shims are that same size already. It's just the 30s that seem to have the smaller ID. Alright, so we decided we wanted 60 thousandths. So we put 130 with a large OD to clear the radius. And then any other 30 or shim will go there. We'll put our dummy bearing on. Oh, I'm on the wrong side, aren't I? Alright, what do we do here? There we go. Large ID shim first, then any shim. So now by my book we know that we're 2.390 from this surface to this surface. So now I'm going to see what kind of space we need in the housing. And you come on over here and you go, whoa, we got a little gap to make up here. About a 1/4 inch. So your kit will come with some extra 30s. Again, you're going to put a large ID 30 first. Then I'll throw about an 1/8 inch more stack in there. So we got an 1/8 inch here. Put their bearing on. You notice now we got enough shims we don't have to shorten this shit snout down. The shim also comes with an outside spacer so you don't get too big a stack up in here. Now let's see how we're fitting. Alright, that's still a little sloppy. Let's try about 20 more. Sneak up on this. Come on, sweetheart. Couple 20s. Dummy bearing. So this is the 70 heavy duty going into the 60 housing. It's still pretty loose. Try another 10. Now we see the importance of dummy bearings. There's fancy measurements you can take, but by the time you're taking all the measurements, I probably have it figured out just by trial and error. Another 10. I notice I don't have the ring gear on here. This just be a pain to have extra weight. We're just trying to see how many shims to get it to fit in that housing. Another 10. That seems about right. I'm going to get gravity on my side here. Oh, I like that. So I would call that pretty much a zero preload. Though it tapped in, I think it slides out pretty easy. That's still a little easy. I'm going to try about 3 more in here. And 3. Center that all stack up. Ooh, that sounds like it's in tune there. So this is just a zero preload now. That's not going anywhere. Got just a little pressure on the gears. Later, when you get everything done, you'd add 7 on each side, or 7 or 8. You want to get 15 thousandths preload. But that'd be a bugger without a case spreader at this point. So we'll just make it so it just slides in and out like that. It just sticks a little bit. Alright, now I've got an initial start on our case. Next, we got to get a pinion in there. Alright, brand new pinion. The instructions say that we need to put 20 thousandths shim in here to start with. That's for my setup. You get a couple 10s. Put them in. Now you don't have to worry about the radius on this because this has actually got a slight undercut in here. Put on our dummy bearing. Now I've beat a lot of yokes on and off these pinions through the years. This is all we need for now. We're just trying to get close. The closer we get, the more we put into it. Alright, so throw that in the back. Give her a little spin, tight her down. See, it's not spinning freely. There's some preload on there. That's enough to start an initial pinion pattern. If it takes you longer than that, you know, to change the shim, you know, right now we could be changing the shim in here. If we needed a different one, we'll get there. If it takes you longer than this to change out your bearing and get an initial preload, you're working too damn hard. That's all I need. Alright, now, before we got started here, we got smart and we threw our ring gear in a bucket of just the hottest tap water I've got. That'll expand it a little bit, so it should fit on here nice and easy. In there, no fighting that baby. We'll just come around and line up some bolt holes. I'll do a little plug for Craftsman here. This is the handiest tool in the shop. Of course, later we'd be removing these, putting them in with the right bolts, Loctiting them, and torquing them down. So now we got a ring and pinion there. Now we're ready to give her a shot to see if we're even in the ballpark. You can see how the housing's ground. The ring gear just clears at 70 ring gear, just clears at 60 housing. Drops on in there. A little tapping. I'm going to have gravity on my side here. Alright, so I've got a little bindy right there. I got no backlash that I hear. So we're going to take about 20. Let's see, we need some backlash. We take 10 from this side and that side. Seems pretty tight. I'm going to move 20 to start with, just so I know I got backlash. Or no, I got to take it off of this side. We got to move this way. Alright, so I have two 30s over here. Let's get rid of 130. Throw in a couple 10s. So that takes off 10 on that side. No, I want to take off 20. So we're just going to leave one. Yeah. We had 30, now we have, we had 60, now we have 40. Your math is probably faster than mine. Alright, 20 off of that side. I got to add 20 to this side. So, let's see, here's a 10 and a pair of 5s. That keeps our overall width the same. Now we got a little backlash in there, don't we? You can hear it. So let's see what we really have. Did we just time out?
It's my phone.
Oh, your phone. Okay, good. We're still rolling. All right. So look at that. We got about 5 thousandths backlash. Of course, now I'm gonna get a little gear smear on here. Run that through, put a little bit of back pressure on that ring gear, or the pinion, so it's some drag, so it leaves a good mark. That's not too bad. We're centered down in the bottom. You know, that could run. So at this point, you would want to start putting in your reel bearings and get your reel preloads done. I'm thinking what I've seen in books, that seems a little tight. We had 5 thousandths backlash. Let's open up to 10 and see if that helps. Because I like how it's the patterns on this end of the tooth. Okay, let's see. If I put the pinion in a little deeper, I'm looking at this. This is this way, so if it was in too deep, I'd be all the way here and I'd be all the way out here. So it looks like I need to crawl it this way. So we're going to bring that pinion in. I'm going to bring the pinion in about 5 thousandths. Alright, so we brought the pinion in 5 thousandths, and we had 5 thousandths backlash, which means we're going to have to get a little more ring gear clearance here. They're going to be running into each other. I got a 10 on this side, yeah. I'm going to pull that 10 out. If you move it over 10, you don't get 10 more backlash. You actually get about 7. Because the gears are kind of going past each other, not exactly away from each other. Come back here. Be gentle on that chin. Let's see how our pattern's doing now. Now I suppose you could put the bearing clamps in, make sure those are seated, but they're seated. And if you got them in right, I've just never really seen any significant pattern change with them in or out. Yeah, we brought that up just a little farther on the